Hello, my name is Daniel Dobbins. I'm going to perform a film essay analysis on the film The Dark Knight, directed by Christopher Nolan and released in 2008. For those that don't know, this film is a superhero action movie starring Christian Bale as Batman, or Bruce Wayne, in his battle with the Joker, played by Heath Ledger, for control of Gotham City. Aaron Eckhart plays Harvey Dent, a public official working to clean up the corruption in Gotham. I mentioned just now that this film is a superhero. Naturally, this idea of a superhero is one that is not to be overlooked or left unanalyzed. So what is a superhero? Well, let's start with what is a hero. A hero is a firefighter that rescues a child from a burning building, risking life and limb. A hero is a person that you admire for accomplishing something great in the time and place and means with which they are presented. This leads us to define a superhero as something that is superior to the best and bravest of us normal humans. And it would appear that a prerequisite for this title is a secret identity and one or more superpowers. In addition to this power prerequisite, a superhero almost always has to have an arch nemesis to use this power against. In the case of the film, our superhero Batman has a nemesis known as Joker. Lastly, an iconic image or symbol is almost always required for the superhero/supervillain. This symbol is an exceptionally important part of the superhero. It represents in many cases the mode, cause, or source of the superhero's identity and drive. Concepts defined as such are not original by any means. Man has created gods and demigods many times over. But this brings out a terribly important point. Batman is not a superhero by this definition, unless you consider a seemingly endless amount of money a superpower, and I suppose this case could be made. He is a hero. This is the heart of the underlying theme in Christopher Nolan's work. The Dark Knight is a superhero movie devoid of superhuman abilities. This was not unintentional. Secondly, and equally important, is the idea of masks. This is maybe the strongest link between these main characters. Each one of them utilizes a mask and an alternate identity. Nolan uses symbolism to express this idea of a human hero and what that means and how it is obtained or lost. This opening scene where the camera focuses in on the mask being held by the bank robber, about to jump in the van, starts the audience off with an idea of the importance of the mask and what it means to wear one. The robbery scene in all is depicted in very quick clips, where each one of the robbers is picked off until only one robber remains. After which point, the audience realizes that the whole robbery was staged that way, and that this is the main character they should be focusing on. The last robber removes his mask to reveal his identity as the Joker. This is an incredibly important scene, in which the plot for the entire movie is revealed to the audience. The Joker is always the behind-the-scenes player setting the stage. The fast tempo and quick panning back and forth between the robbers is like the shuffling of the deck, and the end result where the Joker reveals himself is the dealer flipping over the top card of the deck. And because it's the Joker, you know the deck is stacked. But the symbolism involved here is that the very first time you see the Joker, he takes off a mask to show you himself. This is Nolan telling you that he is the mask, and that he has no other identity. This is supported by the fact that you never learn a single thing about the Joker's past, or where he came from. He gives several different accounts of the scars on his face, which are in no way similar. This lack of characterization as a person emphasizes the notion that he is in fact inseparable from his symbol and what he represents, which, as he says in this film, is the role of an agent of chaos. This symbolism of a mask is used in a very focused and concentrated way in The Dark Knight to support the underlying theme of the world. The creation of the notion of a superhero implies that humanity cannot function left to its own devices and is doomed to corruption and injustice without a superhuman force for good. The opening scene for Batman involves the attempt at vigilante justice of several fake Batmans. In this scene, the real Batman condemns this action. This again introduces the notion of the mask, and that the ones that the impersonators are wearing are not the same as the one that Batman has. Again, this is Nolan showing in the opening scene involving our hero that for Batman, the mask is his identity, and the alter ego Bruce Wayne is the facade. This is what Rachel means in her letter, where she tells Bruce that there will never come a time when he does not need Batman. Harvey, after getting burned, refuses treatment. considering this a mask to cover up what the corruption of his own police force brought upon him. This refusal to don a mask represents a refusal to adhere to any cause, good or evil. In short, Harvey chooses to abandon his ideals in his pursuit of revenge. So again we see an outward appearance of how the lack of a mask, the raw face of Harvey, symbolizes the raw, unmasked nature of a normal man, containing both good and evil. These symbols, centered around the idea of the definition of a mask, make up the running theme of The Dark Knight. The mask is defined as an identity or set of ideals fully developed into a visible resolve. A mask is a thing that subtracts from the individual person and adds to the ideal. This shift from person to ideal is seen as good or evil based on what it represents. In the end, Batman sacrifices his name to save Harvey Dent. We have what appears to be a superhuman figure atoning for the crimes of our raw human figure. The catch is that Batman is, as we said, not superhuman. This is the larger picture. A human, when subtracting from himself or herself to adhere to ideals, can become much more, regardless of superhuman abilities. This is the only superhero arc that places hope in humanity itself. Without understanding the overlying theme of The Dark Knight, this symbolism appears to be simple foreshadowing.